girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I like the girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their
All right. Good morning, guys. Welcome. Oh, shit. I forgot to put my Giant Suck shirt on. I have a shirt that says Giants suck, and they sure do. Drinking emergency this morning because I do not feel well. Sipping on some vitamin C. Morning, everyone. Welcome back. Man, do they suck. Man, do they suck. Everyone in Florida sick? Yeah, I don't know. My throat hurts. Something's off. Not sure what it is, but hopefully it gets better. Morning, guys. Welcome back. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Alrighty. How's everyone's weekend? Hopefully good. Try to fix this here. Alright. Más cerveza. Morning, guys. Welcome. Felt off this weekend? Yeah, I don't know. I just got randomly yesterday. Just totally random. 25 days till hockey? Yeah, man. That's what I'll be watching. The Rangers. And hopefully just doing some fantasy football because I don't know how anyone could possibly watch the New York Giants. Oh, yeah, I got that dividend today as well. Breadman, is that the TLT dividend? There we go. Yeah, that's our TLT dividend right there. So TLT, our TLT purchase has been doing really well. If you guys remember us talking about buying that TLT, not only for the possible upside on the equity, but also for the dividend. 3.7% yield. So that's great. Nice day there. We'll talk about my levels on the SPY, the QQQ as always. But we're going to wait a few minutes for some more people to jump in. It's only 8:03. We'll wait 2 minutes. Wait for everyone to wake up. Ah, man, I'm sorry to hear that. Lost a family member. That sucks. Yeah. Well, hopefully you're, able to be around the family and friends during that time. I know that's tough. Trading's the only thing that helps me focus. Well, make sure you don't trade off of, anger or anything like that, right? We don't want that to happen. Morning, guys. Welcome back. Happy Monday. Saints. Yeah, Saints did well. Who else did well? Not really that many. The Eagles looked all right. I don't really feel like there were that many standout teams. Bears, the defense won the Bears. Steelers, Falcons, a shit show game. Texans almost lost to the Colts, which I thought Texans were going to be better than that. But obviously, it's first game. Yeah, the Patriots beating the Bengals. Man, the Bengals look terrible. The Cowboys did look pretty good. Yeah, overall, pretty good Sunday. Not as exciting as I'd want because my football team that I like is the only football team that did not score a touchdown. So we do not know how to score a touchdown as a National Football League team. So, anyways, all right, it's 8:05. We can start. All right, guys, let's get started. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Let's jump into the levels. There's a very important level that the market came down to last week after the downside, and that's where we're going to start today. We are going to start at the S&P 500 futures. Actually, well, let's first start with the economic calendar because that's pretty big as well. So here we go. Let's get started. So pretty much, guys, this is how you need to sort of structure your week, right? First 2 days of this week, let's say right here and right here, first 2 days, you can probably get away with trading some technicals, right? Doing a little bit of dance off the technicals we talk about, right? And trying to take some trades. But overall, I would expect the market to be relatively quiet. Maybe some recovery off that 5,400 low that we're going to talk about. But overall, the first 2 days here, I would assume would be sort of anticipatory days of this, right? And this is, without a doubt, going to be very important, right? So Wednesday, we have CPI, and I would expect the market to make its next big move based off this number. And, whatever we talk about in terms of the technicals, both today and tomorrow, is going to be potentially invalidated based off CPI, right? We have to know that, and we have to make sure we understand that this is coming out in the pre-market on Wednesday morning, all right? So make sure you know that before you swing trade anything. It's usually not a great idea to swing trade through CPI. I mean, unless you get the direction right, of course, but really hard to be consistent and, be accurate on that. But if you want to guess, go ahead, right? I'm not here to tell you can't, but that is difficult. Now, could the major downside that we've seen recently be a huge buying opportunity, right? Is that definitely the possible idea in the back of your mind? Absolutely, right? But these little devil in your head ideas is what usually gets you absolutely killed, guys. I'm just be fully honest. I can guarantee you, I would say 70% of, those 70% of those ambitious traders out there, like, oh, look at this downside right into CPI. CPI has been decent and numbers have been better. Maybe this is a big opportunity into that CPI, big buying opportunity. It's very possible, right? But those type of sort of like big brain ideas, they work every now and then, but is it the consistent way to trade? No, it's not, guys, to be quite honest, right? That's not how you really trade. I mean, you take shots, right? If you want to take those shots, I can't tell you it's not a shot to be take, right? If you want to put $1,000 on it, if you don't care about it, say, hey, I like this as maybe a buying opportunity into CPI. I'm going to put $1,000 on it. Sure, right? But is that going to be, the thing that you can consistently do day over day, week over week, month over month, year over year, and be a consistent trader? Probably not. But if you want to take your shots, that's that. So CPI Wednesday, right? Let's make sure we know that's there. Thursday, PPI, unemployment claims as well. Some more big economic data there. So pretty much first 2 days of this week, guys, pretty much nothing. And then our Wednesday, Thursday, it starts to get pretty heavy with that economic data. So let's just make sure we know that. Any earnings this week? I didn't even look. Manchester United. Manchester United. If anyone is trading MU or Man U. Here's the earnings calendar. Oracle. GameStop. Oh my God. GameStop. MOS. Yeah, there's nothing here. Restoration Hardware. I love that. I love that store. I'll tell you that. Restoration Hardware, probably my favorite store. All right. So let's get into the levels now. Right. So we talked about the data. We talked about the possibility of, this downside being something interesting and creating risk reward into that data. Very possible, right? That is a possibility. And if you want to, act upon that, that's up to you. S&P 500, though, I will tell you, has come into a very big level, right? This is a very big level. This is a level that we talked about on Friday. If you want to go to my Twitter and follow me here, we talked about this right here on the S&P 500 futures. We talked about that 5,400 level. So that's a big level there, right? And I would be watching that. We talked about the 5,400. That is this level right here. So for now, you have this previous double top high. You have these highs here. You have these lows here. And we have that little bounce that's stepping up for now. So this is a level that I would be very careful shorting into, right? This is a level that probably puts up some type of a fight. And probably where that aggressive short side starts to sort of fade away, right? The aggressive short side probably starts to fade away a little bit here, right? The really juicy short opportunities probably start to go away, and it probably gets very dancy and very choppy, right, after the big move of last week, right into this major demand, right? And so this is expected, guys, right? Market makes a big move, it starts to chop, it makes another big move, it starts to chop, right? Makes another big move, starts to chop. That's how it sort of does it. So this is some chop. This is a big move. This was some chop, right? And we just made another big move. So I would anticipate that this 5,400 level starts to be a little bit of a dirty level, right? Just sort of starts to fake some people out, right? So to say. So just be aware down here. I would make sure you're very aware of how major this level is. If I go to the 4-hour chart, I will show you here in the short term, right? Take a look at this 4-hour chart. You can see right here. 4-hour chart. 5,400, 5,400, 5,400, right? And 5,400. On the dot, right? On the dot. And now we can go ahead and look at Friday's action. If we go here, right? Look at this. So 1-hour chart. Here's your short-term trend, right? And you can see that downside that came in right into 54. And we're starting to see that relief off that level. So on any attempt to lower, right, if you start to take shorts down here, you're at risk of this, guys, right? So I do not like shorts pretty much anywhere down here because if you start shorting into a drop, right, back into 54, you're at risk of sort of this just sort of wick back higher, push back higher. I don't like shorting down into this 54 anymore. I would want to look for those retest rejections back into these zones up here. Possibly 54.90, right? possibly that 55.10, I would like to look for shorts back into these lows. That would be the idea for at least for now, right? That would be the same idea as this into this, right? And I'm going to look at this 55.10 to 54.90 for those possible retest short entries, right? No, it doesn't mean long. Just because I'm saying you don't short here doesn't mean you long. So 54.90, 55.10, right? I would look for those to be possible retest rejection levels. This would be a really nice trade, right? But I would not take this short trade into this zone down here, right? I would only be looking for scalps maybe into the 100, maybe a little bit further if I'm feeling a little bit risky, right? But I would only be looking for that sort of retest and rejection trade back towards this low. If you break this low and you hold below it, right, that's where you get your next very aggressive short. That's a very aggressive short. Under 54 would be a really nice short entry. But for now, I'm going to look for that retest rejection of the previous lows, which is the same retest rejection of the previous lows that happened last week at 55.70. So 54.90 is number one. 55.10 is another one I'm watching. And really, it really is anywhere in this zone where you start to get these rejections, right? Look at the rejections here. 50 SMA, 20 SMA, 55.70, right? Just this whole area is just very heavy. So what has the common theme been? Pops, fades, pops, fades, pops, fades. So what are we looking for today? Pops and fades. We're not looking for shorts into the lows, right? So 54.90, 55.10, something I'm going to be watching there. Really, the biggest short opportunity is, as always, it will continue to be 55.70, right? If we do get a pop in the 55.70, that's still the biggest short opportunity. That is 555 on the SPY, but 55.70 is big. 55.10, right? And I'm going to show you why these short-term levels. I'll go to the 15-minute chart here. Here's the 15-minute, right? And we can take a look at these levels a little bit in more detail. Here's your 54.90. This is your Thursday low and your pre-market low. After you broke below that on Friday, you had very aggressive downside. So 54.90 is number one, right? And then you have right here, this low, these lows, right? These rejections from Friday morning at 55.10. That's something I will watch as well, right? And then above that, it's you still have, right, the 50 SMA. Look at the 20 SMA. Look at the 55.70. This whole area is just peppered with failure points. So would I long into these levels? Absolutely not. Would I short into the lows? Absolutely not. But you're going to have to try to spot where this retest rejection comes in. That's really the key of the morning, right? That's the key of this week. Where do these retest levels come in? What do they look like? That's still tough for me to, it's early. It's Monday. So we have a lot of time to sort of reassess and get an analysis from it. So for now, we just mark our levels and watch and react, right? We're reacting. We're not trying to guess. We're reacting to what these levels show. If you want to be really aggressive on the long side today, guys, if you're feeling risky and you're saying, hey, I'm going to go for a, contrarian long, it would be off 54.40, just to let you know if you are interested in that. I'll show you why. I believe it would be off this 54.40 level. If I go to the 4-hour chart, you can see right here, 54.40, right here, 54.40, 54.40, right? 54.40 right here, right? 54.40 right here. If you want that contrarian long today, right, if that's really what you're interested in, then I believe it is on a retest hold of the 100 SMA and this major 54.40 level, right? That's really your long today. That's what you'd be watching for today. If you want to take that long into the 54.90, into the 55.10, right, into some of these highs, these supply levels above, I think you're going to want to see a very solid hold right here today at 54.40. If this turns into a very solid hold and you sort of see this sort of break and retest hold, then I think you'll get, something like this back towards that 54.90 level. If you want to take that long, so be it. Not that much of a fan of that one. Just it's sweaty, right? It's sweaty. Maybe you get 10% on Q contracts. Maybe you get a 15% scalp. I'm just it's just not that sexy to me. But you can look for it. That's absolutely a possibility. There are trades to both sides every single day. So make sure you know that. But that would be your long. That's where you have to hold for that long, in my opinion. 54.40, 5400, 54.90, and 55.10. Those are my levels I'm watching today. And yeah, SPY. Okay, SPY very clean, very nice. 555, we know that's there. 548, we know that's there. Big break under 548 into the 100 SMA on SPY. Retracing off that move. And pretty much in the middle of no man's land for now. I personally would be looking for the 548 rejections today. That's sort of what I'm going to be eyeing. 548, 548.50, right? All up in here. It's a little bit of a zone, but I'm definitely going to be watching how we retest and reject some of these lows, right? If we get this little pop back higher, I might move it to 549 just to line that up with the 50 SMA. That looks pretty valid over there, right? I think it could be anywhere between 548, 549. Let me go ahead and zoom out real quick to see what this looks like. Yeah, no, I mean, 548's these previous highs right here. You can see right here, 548 is not just a short-term level. It's definitely a longer-term level. So anywhere 548 and that 50 SMA, definitely tough, right? Look at this 4-hour chart. 4-hour, 548, right? That's where we really failed under that 548. Look where we moved down to, that 538. We talked about this level. 538 and that 100 SMA. This was a very talked about level last week on the live stream. You can see right here, this double bottom low, right into that 100 SMA on SPY. That is very clear, right? So what channel are we trading in on the SPY? Right here. We're trading in this channel right here. Look at this, right? It's the same exact channel. Here, here, right? Straight down, straight back up, right? This is the same exact channel. So if we go to the short term, right, we can see it right here. 548, 538. It's about a 10-point channel between the 100 SMA and that 50 SMA, right? And so I would be looking for possibly those retest rejections. If you get that pop back into here, this is the same exact trade as this trade, right? Retest rejections, retest rejections. That's what I would look for here at 548. That's definitely a trade to watch. And then to the downside, 538 is your demand low, and I'd be careful shorting into that low. Okay? I mean, there's so many levels. This entire zone is the same as the ES, right? Margin, it's the entire zone. I can't tell you, right? Look at the rejections that came in all last week. They're at different levels all week. To be honest, if you guys want my honest opinion, right? If you want my honest opinion, and I know it's going to sound silly, but this is honestly how my mind is right now. This is my real zone. I'm going to tell you the honest truth. This is my real zone right here. I would not long a goddamn thing if you're under 55.70. Right? Look at this. I wouldn't long into any of this. Why long into any of these wicks? Right? Look, that's really my zone, to be honest. You really can include that entire area. Right? This is my zone. Right there. That's my whole zone. Why long into here? Why long into there? Into there? Into there? Into these? Into that? Right? It's all just a total supply zone. It's all just total fake out, pop and fade area. This is all trap. This whole area, right? All of these highs from last week, you have no interest in longing into this. All right? How do you know when that's going to fail? How did you know here? Right? Just random spot there. At that daily SMA here, it was 553.70. It's just a heavy zone. that you just don't want to be sweaty long into, right? Holding a long and entering it in here just induces sweat. You have no idea where that fake out's going to come in. It's a very clear level that you need to get above to be comfortably long. It's as clear as can possibly be. It's 555. So if you can get above 555, then this market can reverse. But until you're above that level, right, anything up here just feels like re-short entries. Anything below 555. That's the same exact thing as this ES 5570. It's the exact same thing. Look, 5570, failures in this whole zone. So anything back into this zone would be prime time retest rejections for me. All right. Back into the 50, back into the 20, back into 5570, back into 5510. Anything back into here, I would look for those retest rejections. If you want to play the short-term game and you want to be scalping on the 2-minute chart, then yeah, you could probably look for some longs into this level. It's just I like to sort of trade with a larger term idea on the short-term time frames, right? So if my larger term idea is this, then I'm going to look to trade the short-term time frames with this idea, right? I'm not going to look to long into this level. I would be more interested in letting it push up and then shorting it in this zone on the short term, complementing that longer term idea, right? But if you want to look for the longs today, you got to hold 54.40. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. And let's move forward. NASDAQ futures. So NASDAQ futures, very weak as well. And I'll tell you again, what's the really key level here that you got to get above for any interest to the upside. It really is the 19.2 level, but we're not even close to that. So 19.2, we can see. Let's go ahead and see how this sort of played out last week. 19.2, we had that 100 SMA, right? This 19.140, 19.2 area, previous lows, break and retest rejections, causing more downside. If we go to the 30-minute chart, we can see right here. Here's your 30-minute. On Friday, we saw those 19,000 rejections come in. We broke the lows of the 18,850, right? And after breaking that low, which is right here, right here, right here, right here, right here, after breaking that low, we saw the downside come in. Now, you are holding this 18,380 and this 18,550 200 SMA. If I go to the 4-hour chart, right, we can see right here. Let me go ahead and clean this up for a second. 18,380 is this little low right here from the NASDAQ futures. 18,380, little 4-hour low that is holding for the moment. If I drag this over, you'll also see 18,380 respond right here, right? See this? 18,380, 18,380. So some response there on the 4-hour. Right, if we keep dragging it over, you're going to keep seeing areas of support, right? 18,380 holding there. So we can see, for now, that 18,380 is stepping up. The clearest and most, confident trade here, without any type of hesitation, would be what? Right? What's the clearest and most, clearest trade here? It is the exact same trade that just set up on the market. It's this, right? It's this, and it's a short back here. That's the same exact short as this, right? It's the break and retest rejection of the previous lows, right? So if I was looking for shorts today, I would look for a pop back into the 18,850 level. I would look for these previous lows of last week to turn into rejection spots. And I would look to see if that is a fantastic risk-reward trade, right? Risk, reward, back to the lows, right? And I'd look for that short. I would not short into a 200 SMA at 18,550. I would not short into the lows of last week at 18,380. So I'm definitely not looking to long or short into these levels, right? If you just fail under Friday's lows, then sure, right? We're going to have to get aggressive on that. That's definitely, the case there. But I would not short into this 380. I would not short into the 200 SMA today. I would look for the market to bounce off this level, right? And look for that short back at 850, or possibly look for that short back into 140. Now, if you want to be aggressive and you want to be, if you feel like you got to take advantage of every single move on the market, you could look for that long off of 550 today. This is a literally most non-interesting long for me ever. I'm just not interested in that long at all. That is so against the market trend. That is so against the market strength. Could it be a profitable opportunity? Absolutely. All right. I'm not saying it's not. So you could look for that long. I think you have to pick and choose your battles in trading. So I am definitely not looking for that today. I would be much more interested in letting the Monday, the early morning Monday trade do its thing, right? I don't need to get sweaty Monday morning. I'm not going to start clicking the buttons the second after open. Let's let that thing sweat around, right? Let it get sweaty. Let's let the short-term traders get a little sweaty at market open. Let's see what it does here, right? And if it is sort of that grind higher all morning, I'm just going to let it grind higher, and then let's see if this 850 comes in and fades that thing again. So that's definitely my most important watch today, is up at that 850. You could look for the longs off the 200, and then another great fade would be up at that 140 again, but we'll have to see if we get that. Not sure we will. So pretty clean here on the NASDAQ futures today. Pretty weak to start the day, though, so we'll see if we even get that 200 SMA hold. I would assume there's going to be a lot of traders that get faked out in this zone in here today. I'm gonna assume that fully, right? I think there's gonna be a lot of traders that get faked out in this zone. To both sides, right? To both sides. 18,590, right? 18,550. 18,380. Both sides here. This just looks. I'm just not interested in getting involved in this area right around here. I'd rather let this thing pop, right? Pop back into these lows and then, get aggressive over here. 18,850. 19,000, it's the same exact thing margin as I said earlier on the ES. It's this entire zone. This entire zone is rejections. Rejections, 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 rejections. It's all this. Everything underneath 19.2 is rejections. But I'm only going to look to short at the key levels. But I would not look to long into any of this. Right? Very clear longs over this level. Right? Very. That's just a beautiful reclaim long that we can wait for. Right here. If the market does something like this, guys, right, if we get this little inverse head and shoulder and this market gets above this, I mean, that's just about as clearly long as you can get. And that, waiting for this would be, the most advantageous opportunity. So I'd wait for that. But 18,850, that's really nice short. That's the really nice retest I'd look for today. If you get above that, then this market probably holds the 850 and trades back into the 19,140, right? And then look for that again. Very nice. I mean, look at these levels. They're just very structured here, guys. Zoom out on the 1 hour and mark these structured levels out. The market has been trading very cleanly between these structure points. Look at this, right? Here, here's your next one, right? Look at how clean this is. Number 1, number 2, number 3, right? Look for trades here, look for trades here, look for trades here, right? And let it do its thing. Very clear, very clean. QQQ, same exact thing, right? Look at this. So I'm going to delete that for a second. Here's a channel. Here's a channel. Here's your next channel, right? What do we look for? We look for shorts here. Same as these lows, right? Previous lows into new highs. Look for that today. Look for the stair-stepping channel lower. 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. That's a terrible 3. Here's your major demand lows at 450. Here's your 458 supply highs. Here's your next highs, right, which were previous lows. Here's your next. Here's your high up here. So what I would look for today is the market to, I would not short into this 450 low. That's number one, right? Not going to short into the 450 low. You could look to long the 450 low today if you want to be really contrarian and look for that bounce. That's up to you. I would personally look for the market to zombie grind higher into 458, right? And I would look to see if these previous lows that were lows all last week turn into rejections, right? And so if we start to see rejections at 458 today, I would look to fade that back down towards that 450 level. Now, if the market, right, gets over 458, if the zombie grind gets over 458 and holds, then you look for that next move probably up into the 464, right? And then you see if that level turns into a rejection there. And you're just trading these channels, right? You're just trading these channels. Previous lows, watch that rejection. Here's your previous highs, watch that there. Here's your lows, right? And you're trading there or there or there. You're not trading here and there and there and there and there and there and all those levels, right? We're just going to trade off these key spots. So 457, 458, that's the level to watch today. Did I close my shorts? Yes, I closed them on Friday. All right, let's move on. NVIDIA. Actually, let's start with Tesla. Tesla, man, what a 236 level. What a 236 level. Beautiful. 236. Did not expect it to be that weak, but man, was it weak. So 236 and 236, look at how clean that was. Failures, and what a failure on Friday at 236. So very nice there. I really thought Tesla was starting to heat up here, and I said, hey, let's wait to maybe look for that 236 level. And man, am I happy I waited for that, because that is a smackdown. So 236 smackdown, be very careful into there. Here's the hourly chart. We are right back into this channel that we have been sitting in. You can see right here. 219, 203, right? Same exact channel. So I would be careful at 219. I'd be careful of rejections there today. Here's major rejections at this 219 level. I'd be careful of rejections at 219. If you get over 219, I'd still be sort of questionable on the longs into this 50 and obviously longs into the 236. So I would watch this right here, 219, right? Keep an eye on that spot. That could be a very nice retest rejection. And then to the downside, right, this 203 and this 20 SMA, this is actually a level, right, that could be a very nice hold level. So watch 203 and watch that 200 SMA and watch that 100 SMA, all right here, right? That's all down here. 200, 100, 203. If Tesla does come down into this level, I'd actually look at that as a potential long spot personally, at the 200, at the 100, and at that major demand level. So 203 lows, 219 highs. You've been in this channel for some time now. Every, sort of push outside of it gets you right back in it, right? Push outside of it, right back in it. So it's a tough spot. Yeah, I mean, you could watch the 210. It's right around here, 210. I mean, there's levels inside this channel, guys, but I'm just not interested in that, right? Well, why am I trading a 210 in the middle of the major channel, right? It just doesn't make sense. So, yeah, I mean, you could trade off 210, but the trade is 1-to-1 there. It's not interesting. I'm not going to put levels on my charts that I'm not... I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I don't put levels on my charts unless I'm interested to trade off them, because that just gets me to trade off levels that are irrelevant. So the only levels I put on my charts are levels that I'm actually willing to take action off of, right? 210 is there. I know it's there, right? You can see it right there, right? 210, 210, 210. But if I long off 210, I'm longing right into 220, right? If I'm short right into 203. I'm just not that interested in that, right? I think you want to trade the bigger moves, which would be, over 220 or under 203. That would be a little bit more interesting than getting involved in there, right? Up to you, right? You can definitely get involved in there. I'm not saying you can't, but that's why I don't have it. 219, right? 219. That's the level. All right, NVIDIA. So, daily chart on NVIDIA, very clear, 101.50. Hold on, right there. So, the two levels that I'd be watching on the downside on NVIDIA on the daily chart is 101.50, right? 101.50 and 97. Those are the two spots, 97 and 101.50. 101.50 is the low of this candle right here. That is 101.52. That is the low of May 23rd. And after that, there's a gap to 97. Now, if we go to the short-term time frames and we put on our normal levels here, let's go to the 30-minute chart. And so for now, we can very clearly see the structure that NVIDIA is in, right? It's in a downside structuring move right here, right here, a little bit of a gap right there, right? And so we're not going to look to long NVIDIA unless it gets over this 110 level, right? What do you need the market to do to long, right, and look for a reversal? We want that, structure change. So I would look for NVIDIA to get over 110 before letting the devil on your, letting the devil in your head say, oh my God, what an opportunity to long NVIDIA. I would probably wait for, now, of course, it depends on what you're doing, right? If you're taking like 2 years out, 1 year out, or taking shares, then sure, I can't really complain with you that much there. But if you're taking like next week contracts, then yeah, probably not. It's a good idea until the market really shows some type of real level to, real reason to long. I would personally need NVIDIA back over 110, right? Back over these highs and turn them back into lows, right? And turn the 100 SMA back into support. If you see that, then I think you look for that long on NVIDIA. That's very clear. Long right into 116, which is where it could get heavy again, right? 116, and then probably that 20 and 50 SMA are trading there at that time. Now, if you break under 101.50, right, and I'll show you why this 104 level is there, but if you break under 101.50, then this is going lower, right? Under this level, this is probably going into your 97, and that would be a major test for NVIDIA. I would assume, if I had to give my best guess, if I had money on the line and tried to guess what NVIDIA does today, I'd assume it holds this 101.50 and sort of navigates back towards this 110 level at some point this week. And this is going to be your next big, judgment day type move. What happens at 110 in the future? Do we get another major failure at this 110? Or do we finally see that thing sort of find some strength above that level? I would assume NVIDIA is going to try to navigate back towards this area, personally. Try to make that next decision at this level around here. So I would be careful of shorting into 101.50. I'd be careful of getting short there. I'd also make sure you're understanding that if you do long NVIDIA down at these areas, that you are still longing into a very clear downside structuring market. So it's not like you can expect NVIDIA to, have some kind of crazy upside move here. You're still longing into a very clear downside move, right? Look how beautiful this is. And I really hope that this starts to get, I hope that this starts to make sense to some of you out there. Just look at how clean, this sort of structuring move was on NVIDIA. Look how it went from, in here, got above it, traded in here, right? Sort of just went straight through that area, actually, right? Straight through it. Then got to the next spot, right? Sort of created this next channel, got to this one, right? And then on the way down, it held within the same channels, right? On the way down, it was this one, right? You can see which matched here, right? Right there, those matched. Then this was straight up, and look at that, straight down, right? That matched. That's very nice. This matched the same as this one. And then below 110, right? This is your channel that was previously there, and look at what you're starting to trade in. right? So maybe you need to come down to that channel low at 97. But just a really pretty, just, really structured nicely there. Hopefully you can start to get an idea of how that market moves, because this is a really cool example of just market structure and seeing how those levels sort of respond, not just at one point in time. They're responding over and over again. Look at that. Yeah, 97 matches too, then there you go. That would be awesome there, Kofi. That could be possible. You might get that 97 to match. All right, let's continue. AMD. Don't got too much on AMD, but I would be looking for this 136 level, right? Right here, 136, 136. If you reject here, more downside. If you get back over 136, you're trading back into 140. Let's go to Netflix. I want to show you guys sort of this Netflix pullback that I'd be aware of if the markets do find some type of support. If the markets do find any type of resiliency this week into next week, I'd be watching Netflix on this pullback towards this 50 SMA. This is sort of interesting. After a big push, a little bit of consolidation, slight downside could definitely mean more upside. I would not be looking away from this one just yet. I think that's very interesting. So I'd be watching this here around that 655. That's something I'm monitoring. Microsoft, sort of keeping an eye on this one as well, as it sort of slides lower. I'd like to see Microsoft get back over the 200 SMA before taking any action on this. All right, you can see, look at all these rejections at this 410 spot. So I personally want to see Microsoft, get back above this 410 and start to really turn that into support before doing anything here. If not, you can look for those 410 rejections as well. I'd keep an eye on this 410. This looks like the clearest level to trade off of. Meta was absolutely sick again last week off 523. Look how beautiful that was again. We talked about that, 523. Look at how great this supply level has been. Every pop in the 523 has created downside, and Friday was no exception. Very nice. Now, 510 is your previous lows. I'd look for that to turn into rejections for more downside. You can see right here, 510, 523, break, retest, rejection. I would watch for the 510. The only reason I would have problems shorting 510 with confidence, why is that, guys? You got to think big picture, because if you do that, then you're shorting the NASDAQ into the 200, guys, right? You got to think through these things. So why am I not that much of a fan of shorting that Meta 510 today? Because if I short Meta 510, I am basically shorting the NASDAQ at the 200 SMA, right? I'm just not that interested in shorting the NASDAQ, shorting tech when the NASDAQ is sitting at the 200 SMA. So I'm not a big fan of it, but you could watch that 510 today. If you get above it, you probably see some upside. But you could watch that 510 today on Meta. Apple has its event today, iPhone event. Typically, iPhones, Apple sells off on these events. Not going to say that that's what it does this time, but typically Apple does see downside or see weakness when these events do start. So you can be aware of that. 220, 224, very clear channel. I would wait for that to break. Broadcom, 140 is rejecting. You can see right here, right? 140 is rejecting. So that's something to pay attention to. Man, my throat's killing me right now. 140, very key spot there. And you can see right now it is rejecting. So, I'd watch that 140. But you're right above that 200 SMA. So I'd see what happens. Yeah, let's see what happens at 140, actually. Does it get back above it? I'd actually be interested to see if it gets back above it. Let's talk about the SMH real quick, because the SMH has definitely been driving this market downside. No doubt, right? We have seen that sort of weakness on the SMH, which is causing some downside on the markets. So the big downside level, the big SMH support is 206, right? That's this major low, 206, 205, this sort of area down here, big spot. Maybe, you can even call it 200, really, right? You can really call it 200 flat. This whole zone down here is big time, right? All here, right? All here. big time spot. So 205, 200, big demand down below. But for now, right, look at how this SMH has been stair-stepping lower. And so I would not look to long any semiconductor if we stay in this stair-stepping downside move. Right, you have here, here, and now here. Right, so if the SMH gets back over 221 and holds, then we can look for that long opportunity, right, on the semiconductors. But for now, 221 is very clearly turning into rejections. We broke 221, and it's possibly turning into rejections. So I would look for 221 to SMH is still weak, and the semis stay weak. If SMH gets back over 221 and can hold, then I think you might see some return of, some return on the semiconductors. So 221 would be a major thing I'd be watching on the semis today. Keep an eye on that spot. All right, guys. I think that's about it, man. I'm struggling over here, and I think we went through some good information. We went over the futures levels, which are the most important of the day. We went over some major tech. We went over the SMH. Make sure to watch that 221 on SMH. NASDAQ, once again, I would not short into this 18,550. I would not short into the 200 SMA today. I really don't think that makes much sense. I would look for this market to trade back higher. If you're going to fade this market, the clearest fade of the day is 18,850. There's no doubt about it. Clearest fade on the ES is up at 55.10, up in here. That's where you look to fade. I would not fade this market down at the 100 SMA at 54.40 on the ES. This is very possibly a hold spot when we go out to the daily chart. And we go here, guys. You need to make sure you're able to zoom out. This is a very clear level that I would not be shorting into at 5,400. Big time daily spot. This is definitely a possible spot that this market can hold into CPI on Wednesday. All right? All right, guys. Have a fantastic trading day, and I will see you hopefully tomorrow. If this doesn't get worse, I hope to see you tomorrow. All right? Press that like button for me, please. Subscribe. Peace out.
I think the girls with their nails done now.